The Senate has agreed to a bipartisan coronavirus relief package bill, which could be voted on as early as this Tuesday afternoon. And it's a $484 billion package, and the Democrats got pretty much nothing that they asked for. This is arguably a bigger abomination than the first relief package bill that went through that included the stimulus payments, because this basically includes zero Democratic priorities except for testing and hospital funding, which it should tell you enough about the negotiating tactics of the Republican Party that wasn't a given in what should be included. So the Democrats got virtually nothing for states and cities. They'd initially requested $150 billion for states, local governments. They got nothing out of that. No election protection at all. So there was nothing included about the upcoming elections, vote by mail, nothing in this small business relief package. No oversight, no limits on fossil fuel bailouts. None, as we all know. Oil prices dipped below zero yesterday, and there's already talk from the Republicans about bailing out the oil industry. There was no guarantees in this bill, as outlined by the Democrats, and the Republicans, of course, but the Democrats are supposed to fight for their position. No deal there to prevent fossil fuel bailouts and no food stamps. All they got was some testing. According to a summary of the deal obtained by Politico, the legislation includes $321 billion for the depleted Paycheck Protection Program, of which $60 billion is set aside for underbanked businesses, a priority for Democrats. These small business loans are supposed to go to companies, businesses with under 500 employees, but large companies have repeatedly been getting these loans. We saw Shake Shack publicly was shamed into returning their loan. We saw Potbelly's, a restaurant chain that's primarily in New York, got a small business loan. Just many of them. Harvard University was taking out loans, and they have an endowment of like $40 billion. But, the Democrats didn't include any of the protections against larger companies getting those kinds of loans in this new small business relief bill. Part of the problem there was that it was up to the discretion of the banks who would get these loans, and they've been favoring ones that they had pre-existing relationships with, the banks. So the Democrats didn't address any of that or put in any protections in this new bill, according to the preliminary reports that just came out in Politico, because, again, the full language hasn't been released yet, but this is what we're hearing from reporters. Republicans fended off money for state and local governments that Democrats wanted, and also got more for small businesses than previously requested. So Democrats didn't get anything for state and local governments, and the Republicans got more for small businesses that it doesn't even matter how small it is. The bank will make that determination because there's no oversight whatsoever. They got that as well. Democrats, meanwhile, were able to deliver on more money for hospitals and testing that they'd requested. Again, the Democrats' position for hospitals and coronavirus testing in a coronavirus pandemic. The Republicans were never not going to give any of that. I mean, because that's the bare minimum, right? That's the bare minimum that Democrats should be fighting for. And yeah, if it was entirely ruled by Republicans and the Democrats had no leverage, they wouldn't do that. But acting like it's this huge victory that you got money for testing in a pandemic and for hospitals, it's ridiculous. Schumer played up the testing language as a major breakthrough for federalization of the program. Democrats admitted defeat on their demands for $150 billion for states and local governments after Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Mnuchin took a hard line against including that money. Instead, the legislation will grant flexibility for unspent money from previous relief bills to be used for revenue shortfalls and seek more money in the next round, Schumer said. In the next round, sure. Because why would the Republicans ever believe that you have any standing to negotiate against them if you didn't demand it this time around? $150 billion. Oh, shucks. That was our initial request. Oh, shucks. We didn't get any. Zero. Zilch. There's like $11 billion that go to state and local governments, but I think that's just because for testing and other purposes. It's not, basically stimulus money for the state and local governments. Once again, the Senate Democrats, the Democrats in general, just cannot get out of their own way in terms of their own weakness. AOC has talked about how she is likely to vote against the stimulus bill. We'll see how the House responds, but expect this to be signed and go through to President Trump's desk. Yet another giveaway to corporations, not to working people, not to the state governments that desperately need it to stay afloat. Nothing of that sort. Not even we're not even discussing a second stimulus payment. That's how bad this is. Oh my God, how did they get weaker? How did the Democrats get weaker in this pandemic and under Trump? Unbelievable.